What's up, gamers? Today I'm bringing you a list of the 8 most anticipated games coming this holiday season that should make you open up your wallet. So, let's see this list. Starting our list with one of the most anticipated games of the year, S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2. Heart of Chernobyl is finally arriving after years of development and multiple delays. For those who aren't familiar with the franchise, the first game was released back in 2007 and revolutionized survival games with its unique atmosphere based on the Chernobyl disaster. The cool thing is that if you have Xbox Game Pass, you'll be able to play it day one without spending anything. And even with all the development drama, including the fact that GSC Game World faced the war in Ukraine during production, the game is looking incredible. The gameplay footage I've seen shows that they've maintained that signature dark atmosphere of the series, but now with absolutely stunning visuals using Unreal Engine 5 and a much more living and breathing exclusion zone. Sure, there's always that worry when it comes to such an ambitious game, but from what I've seen in the previews, it looks like it'll be worth the wait, and we're just days away from release. If you're into survival horror with RPG and FPS elements, this is one of the games you need to play this holiday season. Unfortunately, the game only runs on Series X, S, and beefy PCs. And speaking of games that'll make your hardware cry, let's talk about Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. The new version of the world's most realistic simulator arrives literally one day before S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2, and it'll also be available on Game Pass at launch. Flight Simulator 2020 already had pretty advanced and beautiful graphics, but this new version seems to improve even further. Asobo Studio promised a complete overhaul of aircraft physics, even more realistic weather, and finally official helicopter support without needing mods. The most impressive thing is that they've managed to optimize the game even more. If you're playing on Series S or X, you'll get faster loading times and improved graphics. For those who already own Flight Simulator 2020, the upgrade is totally worth it, especially since Asobo confirmed that all previous DLC content will be compatible with the new version. And if you've never played but always been curious, this is the perfect time to start. And now here comes a surprise that nobody expected, with the partnership between LEGO and PlayStation Studios bearing fruit, and after the success of LEGO 2K Drive, it's time for Aloy to get her brick-built version. LEGO Horizon Adventures is one of those games where you look at it and think, how did nobody think of this before? They took all the essence of Horizon with its giant machines, post-apocalyptic world, and amazing landscapes and transformed it into a super fun LEGO game. The best part is that it's not just a lazy adaptation. Traveler's Tales, who already did an amazing job with games like LEGO Star Wars, created new mechanics to represent Aloy's weapons and traps. And yes, you can build and take apart the machines. You can even use the pieces to create your own robot combinations. And look, after playing a preview, I can say it's super fun to see that serious Horizon world get that LEGO humor touch. Seeing a brick-built Thunderjaw chasing Aloy is something I didn't know I needed in my life.
Aloy 1, this guy, nada.
The most famous archaeologist in cinema is back. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle is another game from Machine Games that's looking really promising, and this time they've put Wolfenstein aside to bring an adventure that every indie fan has dreamed of. After that insane preview we saw in January, the hype has only grown. The mix of first-person gameplay and third-person cutscenes is working really well, giving that Tomb Raider-style exploration feel with heavier action moments like Uncharted. The most impressive thing is how they've captured the essence of the movies. The story takes place between Raiders and Last Crusade, and all that characteristic Harrison Ford humor is there. The game will be available day one on Game Pass, and if you're already a subscriber, you'll be able to play without spending anything extra. And for those who aren't subscribers, it's still a must-play title for anyone who enjoys adventure games or is a fan of the Indiana Jones movies. It's worth noting that they promise 0 microtransactions in that old-school single-player style we all love. The only thing that makes me a tiny bit worried is whether they'll manage to balance the stealth elements with more direct action well, but given Machine Games' track record, we can rest easy. Let's talk about one of the year's most controversial releases, Dragon Age: The Veilguard. The game dropped on Halloween, and well, it's been dividing fans' opinions. Let's start with what's working. The combat is really good. BioWare innovated with the system, making everything more dynamic and allowing for ability combos that are super satisfying. Visually speaking, the environments look great. The art direction might have gone for a more cartoonish style, but in motion it works much better than in screenshots. The The game is available on EA Play, which comes included with Game Pass Ultimate, so you can try it without spending anything extra if you're already a subscriber. If you enjoyed Dragon Age Inquisition, you'll probably have fun here too. But, as a fan of the series, I have to be honest, there are some problems you can't ignore. The story, especially at the beginning of the game, feels a bit stuck. The overall tone is lighter than previous games, which might bother those expecting something darker like Origins. And the exploration isn't as rewarding as it should be. In the end, the Veilguard is a fun game, but maybe not exactly what hardcore fans of the series were expecting. If you can set aside expectations and approach it as a new direction for the franchise, there's lots of good stuff to enjoy here. Just don't expect to find the same narrative weight as the previous games.
I think that's the last of them.
Good. Let's get to Dumont Plaza and find...
Speaking of RPGs, after almost 10 years without a new game in the series, Mario and Luigi is back with Brothership. It's a great surprise to see gaming's most famous brothers returning in this style we love so much. If you've never played a Mario and Luigi game, it's a turn-based RPG with various mini-games and perfect timing moments in combat. In this new game, they've really polished the battle system, making it more dynamic than ever with the new battle plugs. The visuals have also changed quite a bit. Now everything's in cell shading and I think it looks beautiful. The environments are super varied since the game takes place on various floating islands, each with its own style. One thing that's dividing opinions is the game's pacing. The beginning is kind of slow with lots of dialogue and tutorials, but it gets much better later and ends up making up for that slow start. The only issue is that sometimes the game goes a bit overboard with backtracking, making you return to the same places multiple times, and some side missions could be more interesting, but nothing that ruins the experience. And for psychological horror fans, Bloober Team has finally delivered the highly anticipated Silent Hill 2 remake. The game arrived in October, and what an impressive job they've done. If you've never played the 2001 original, this is the perfect time to discover why Silent Hill 2 is considered one of the best horror games ever made. And if you have played it, get ready to rediscover that town with a completely renewed visual style. It's amazing how they managed to modernize the game without losing the essence of the original. The puzzles have been rethought, environments expanded, and combat is much more dynamic. But that heavy psychological atmosphere is still there, even more disturbing. Reviews are showing that Bloober Team really understood what made Silent Hill 2 special. Most critics are really praising how they maintained the respect for the original material while adding new elements that make sense. And to close our list with the Golden Key, we have a remake of one of the most important RPGs in history. Dragon Quest III is coming back completely renewed in the HD 2D style that Square Enix has been using in games like Octopath Traveler and Live Alive, and it's arriving now on November 14th. If you've never played the 1988 original, this is the perfect time to discover why Dragon Quest III is considered one of the games that defined the Japanese RPG genre. The story remains that classic tale of hero versus ancient evil, but the execution and plot twists are amazing even today. The HD 2D visuals are more beautiful than ever, mixing 2D sprites with modern effects in a way that respects the original, while making everything more vibrant and current. They've kept the class system that was revolutionary at the time and remains super fun to this day. And with the incredible work Square has been doing with these HD 2D remakes, you can be sure Dragon Quest III will be another success in this line. And that's it, folks. These were the 8 insane games to close out the year. Tell me in the comments which one you're most excited to play. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks so much for hanging out, and if you want to see more content like this, just check out the other videos on the channel up here. Until the next video, peace out and happy gaming!